Oh, the perks of broadcasting at home. I've got a extra little co-commentator here for the briefest of moments, of course. Say hello, Jace. As we're about to hop into game number 3, the Saints are looking to definitely rebound after what was a very, very brutal battle for that second game. Waterloo just absolutely crushed it. Now, we're going to bring out the draft in just a second here. Got to see what changes in regards to pick and bans. All right, so let's see. Starting things off here. I've never been photobombed by my son before, so that's a new one. But anyway, the one thing that's going to stay the same here, Actifor is going to pick up the Nunu again for this round. And honestly, for the side of the University of Waterloo, I wouldn't change a dang thing with their champ select. And it looks like they're going right down the same path. Ral's going to be picked up. Renekton's going to be picked up. Kaisa might be off the board, so they might have to pick a different AD carry. But we'll have to see if the rest of the team follows up. Okay, they actually Saints did actually ban off the Udyr as well. So at least that's off the board.
I'm interested to see if Clair is going to go less flashy this time. Try and stay a bit more, solid and know what they're like once they're doing. Because you say Waterloo had a really good thing going on the last match, so they decide to stay with that same mix. It would be a good one.
Definitely makes sense. And to be honest, as of right now, what I see here from Saints is a little bit more safer compared to the last time. Of course, we still have the Gnar, we still have the Nunu, but those are just solid picks for Actiforce and Cooper, respectively. The Senna is going to be the first one I've seen Lassie play in a while, but it is a bit of a safer AD carry that has the ability to heal herself and others, long range damage as well, and just not as vulnerable as the Jinx was. So probably a solid pick there on the side of the Saints. However, Dark X, you ban the Udyr, that's okay. I'm going back to Nidalee, which granted during Game 1 found some but limited success. We'll have to see if it's just as successful in game number 3 as the Udyr was, because that Udyr was absolutely crushing the Saints in regards to how he was just all over the place, was constantly ganking everybody, putting his lanes ahead to the point where team fights were basically impossible. Kiana's still going to be banned. Tom Kench actually getting banned. That's a random one coming out of left field for University of Waterloo. And then I do like the Twisted Fate ban. This is going to force Quatch Daddy to pick up something that he hasn't already played here in this game, as the Galio and TF are both banned. Gonna have to try something different, dig a little bit deeper into his champion pool for this next one, but he could very well save it for the last pick, and it's going to be the AD carry getting picked up here this time for YNS. Of course, the Kaisa was picked up, so I'm going to pick the Xayah instead. Strong, relatively mobile, and has a couple of, or has an escape option even built into the ultimate, so can dodge some critical maneuvers, whether it be some roots coming out of Lassie's Senna, or getting jumped on by possibly Nunu or the Gnar. And it is going to be best bodyguard NA, so it is going to be Braum coming out to play here for Miensfo. And it's Saints' turn, it looks like, to play very safe, unless they just completely whip it out the window with this pick here. This would be a very strange blind pick, because normally you would pick a Veigar in regards to a counter pick, and this is much more sense. This makes a lot more sense, actually. Picking up the Orianna here for Frez. So there are plenty of targets on the side of St. Clair that you can throw the Orianna ball onto to fire off the shield, the speed boost with the damage, or the shockwave, which of course the big ultimate maneuver there for Orianna, and it's going to be the Victor to counterpick Frez. Now granted, Frez does play a lot of Victor himself as well, so this is at least a champion that he knows pretty well. This is probably a matchup that he actually knows pretty well. So he should be able to hold his own without having to completely send it in the mid lane to make something happen. He can stay back, wait for teammates to make plays, and this is just such a safe composition from St. Clair. This will be a much different playstyle compared to last time. Meanwhile, I like the mix here for University of Waterloo. They have some aggression in regards to the Renekton in Italy and Rel, but they've played these before. They're comfortable champions for them, and they fit well. They're safe, but you can still be aggressive with them if it lines up correctly. The Victor is an interesting middle ground, to say the least. Can definitely get aggressive if he wants to, if the opportunity is right, as we throw it to us real quick. And then the Xayah Rel, this is going to be a different bot lane for myself anyway. Don't see a lot of it. Xayah just solid all around. Rel, I mean, we saw it happen a lot during the game number 2, where there was just constant pressure of diving onto Lazi, on the Jinx, to the point where Lazi just couldn't farm at all. Was constantly shooting away, was constantly trying to use abilities to get last hits on minions, and was still so far behind that, even though there was a few opportunities where he was able to find some huge rockets in fights, but it was still just doing no damage. So, looking forward to seeing how this final game here will end up happening.
I'm looking forward to it too, Dan. I'm thinking that we might see a good mix of both matches coming to play here. I think we'll see a few really scrappy brawls happening, but at the same time, quite a bit of that standoff. And let me gauge where you're coming
Like, I feel like something is going to have to be set up properly in order for an actual fight to occur. Because if either team doesn't find the setup that they're looking for, I feel like they're just going to back straight off. Like, you're going to want to set up some sort of tank alongside the Orianna for the shockwave setup. But if you don't get that start, I feel like you just probably throw the ball on, give them the speed boost, and make them run away. Meanwhile, on the side of Waterloo, I feel like it's a bit more pick style, where you're not necessarily trying to find that 5v5, but you might be looking to try and find somebody, a straggler or two in the jungler, pick them off, then get them, kick them while they're down, so to speak. I feel like their composition kind of leans toward that a little bit more, but we'll have to see. As always, I'm trying my best to analyze this match as best as possible, but of course, one of the most exciting things about League is that it can be definitely unpredictable, and I absolutely love to be wrong. So we'll have to see. I want to see if the players can prove me wrong in this situation. Maybe St. Clair just sends it. I don't know. Maybe they just whip it down and see what happens, but I have asked in the first game, we kind of got spoiled for the second game in regards to this question, but what do you think is going to happen level 1? Are we fighting, or are we just staying safe?
It's going to be a hard one for me to say this time. I want to say that they're going to come back fighting, but I feel that they might be a little bit hesitant on that just after such a big loss on the last round. So it's going to be interesting to see. I think we'll be able to tell fairly early on how they're going to do that, how they're going to play their round this time.
Definitely makes sense. If there is going to be an invade, I feel like it might come from the Saint side, because you can line up Brahm's Snowball to actually stun somebody, but other than that, it'll be a little bit difficult. There's not necessarily somebody who has really any other hard CC other than Senna if she wants to take her route for level 1, which oftentimes I don't think they want to. So it very well might be a cautious one, but we'll have to see as we move forward. Now, your first time casting, you have yourself a Game 3 match. You excited for it?
I am. This is it's a little bit easier as each match goes along for me to feel a bit more comfortable. Hopefully I'll find my way in this match to see some good things happen.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you're here, of course. At the end of the day, these broadcasts are meant for student opportunities. Get everybody out there, whether you're part of the esports club or either esports club, the esports program. If you're just interested and you're at St. Clair, by all means, I'm happy to see people coming out here and giving this a shot. Aline, so far, so good, and keep on trucking on as we're about to hop into game number 3. And we have ourselves just a standoff. Nothing too crazy. 2 lines of scrimmage, everybody staying nice and calm. They might have been on something when you were calling out the hesitation in the Saints moving forward here. It definitely makes sense, and they're not going to pull the trigger on anything too aggressive.
Being a sentinel? Second rule of being a sentinel.
Like everybody's just trying to find where they start their plays off. Where do they want to make that first?
They were thinking about it there for a second, but then opted against it. Just going to go down to the bot lane. They're actually not even going to help their jungler. Dark X is just going to fend for himself in the jungle. Meanwhile, Saints bot lane going to help Active Force burst down that red buff as quick as possible. And then try to move on from there. I think they do both get to the lane pretty much at the same time, though. Don't have to worry too much about level 2s as of this moment. Active Force with a very quick gank actually here on the Quatch Daddy. Going to force a flash. Can they get a kill this quickly? They are. It is going to go over to Frez. Active Force going to hang on by a thread. A very unusual early gank coming out here from Active Force, and it pays dividends. And when I was asking about early action, here I am thinking about like level 1 invades, but maybe I should have been thinking about level 2 jungler ganks as Active Force manages to clutch that one out with Frez. And the fact that Frez has that kill as well, just going to be so much more confident as soon as he does end up getting his first back, able to get a bunch of items, which he did just do right now. So he's going to be able to keep stacking the tier, of course, and working on the rest of his items as well. Up ahead compared to where he would be, being able to get that first blood gold.
I think on the mental side of the game, for St. Clair, it seems that if they can get that, they seem to do a little bit better once you get that first win. So I hope that that continues for them, but we'll see, because Waterloo is definitely, they're very cautious, and they might be able to just hold St. Clair off with that ability to wait the right moment.
Yeah, very well might happen. We do see in the jungle, actually, Dark X might have found himself one of those moments. Xenoblade guy nice and close as well. Active Force extremely low. Flash and going to take care of him. He's going to get the revenge kill onto Active Force. You take my mid laner, now I take you. Takes care of it, and now it's just going to allow Xenoblade guy to pressure Cooper all he wants. Knows that the jungler's not going to show up for at least a little bit. And the fact that Nidalee gets a kill is always fantastic as well. And down in the bot lane here, you can tell that Lassie and Mensfo feel so much more comfortable in this match, at least as of right now, compared to the other one. They're basically battling it out back and forth. YNS takes a ton of heat, and then these kind of long, drawn-out engagements, Lassie and Mensfo might be for the better. However, they caught themselves in a bit of a pickle. Can they wait long enough for Active Force to arrive? Not in the slightest. Active Force is in trouble. Frez is going to have to try and flash out the Dragon Pit because Quatch Daddy chased them down and we basically just gift wrapped that one. Give the double kill over to Dark X, and once again, for the second game in a row, Dark X is going to find himself 3 kills before the 10-minute mark and is going to be an absolute threat moving into this early game as there's so much gold in the pocket. And I mean, Nidalee does a ton of damage to begin with, let alone a Nidalee that actually has items. Yeah, if I'm Frez, I run a couple seconds ago. Like, this is actually kind of brutal unless Dark X kind of throws it a little bit, going into the turret one more time. Active Force on hot pursuit, but he has to watch out for the Gator. Xenoblade guy trying to escort Dark X out of there, but he's got to watch out for Kubra. Come on down, tries to get him, but it's actually going to be Active Force who's going to fall first. Kubra really wants this kill on, and the Nidalee is going to find it. just barely, but this fight might be getting a little bit hectic here for the Saints. They're going to blast their way out of here. So they're at least going to go 1 for 1. They got the shutdown, and it went on the Kubra. Going to try and boost start the Gnar as well. And considering before, when left alone in this lane up against Blade Guy's Renekton, he had himself a really, really hard time. Getting that kill to go even with him at least is at least going to make things a little bit more of a relief for him compared to a Fed Gator. Top laner is not quite level 6 just yet, so they'll be able to dive in onto each other, but probably not take each other out, at least as of yet. And now that Kubra's hit 6, the Xenoblade Guy will probably be right around the corner. You'll probably expect an engagement up top very shortly, as we do see the bot lane here for St. Clair. They're in trouble, as we do see Dark-X make a return down to this bot lane. Mienzfo is not going to be long for this world. Is going to probably go down. Dark-X so close to going down, but huge cover coming out here from Y and Ness and getting double kill. This is kind of scary. 2 heavy-hitting champions have 3 kills under their belt, and they're going to be able to just extend that lead with the next time they back. Going to hit even harder. And Lazi must be shaking his head right here right now. Active Force going to make a trip down to the bot lane, and is he going to just hand this one over, or is there a plan in place? Looks like it's just going to hand this one over. Active Force going to go down for absolutely free. Oh, Mienzfo, you just came back to lane. Well, go back home. Back to the fountain with you. Same to you, Lazi. That was absolutely free. The nice little return gank there from Dark-X. You thought he left, but not going to be the case at all. Rough times for the bot lane. Never mind the game state itself. Mentally, that is an absolute tilter, to say the least.
I have to agree with you there, Ben. It definitely is, and this is when I think that the Saints really had a hard time last game, because they just didn't seem to be able to pull it back and just take a run at it again. And I think that this is really, it's hit them hard. We're hoping for a better start, but maybe they'll come up. I don't know. They might have done it before, but wait and see. Did so well that first round. That was really nice to see, but they seem to just have gotten into a bit of a hard place for them to get out of. The mental aspect of the game.
Yeah, unfortunately from what I've seen so far today, it's like when it's good, it's great, but when it rains, it pours. And it really seems to be the case down, especially for the bot lane here, where they love to have high momentum, especially when they're playing the Jinx. Jinx is extremely momentum based. And now switching over to the Senna to try and switch things up, still not necessarily doing the trick for him. And Lazi, it's a very uncharacteristic to see him and Mienzfo both with no kills and 3 deaths under 10 minutes. The return ganks from Dark-X and just the way this bot lane is playing here for the University of Waterloo has just been absolutely fantastic here so far. And any time that St. Clair has to rely on somebody other than Lazi and Mienzfo to, or rather than Lazi to do damage, it usually gets a little bit rough here. And we're going to see the Saints try to make the play. Active Force was coming in with the snowball, but YNS just does not care. Blows them up before they can even make anything happen. We have Dark-X on the Italy. Nice, quick little assassination. The classic flash into absolutely nothing coming out here from Active Force. And YNS, nice dodge, and he turned that onto Active Force. Absolute clinic coming out here from the University of Waterloo. And it's, for the hometown crowd, this is definitely painful, but still have to absolutely admire the play coming out here from the University of Waterloo. They won the fight in the top lane. They won the fight in the bot lane. Lassie and Frez are going to try and make something happen, and never mind, we do seem to have a disconnect. So we're going to quickly throw it on over to us as it looks like... oh, never mind. Hang on a second. Quatch Daddy had the PC maybe mess up ever so slightly, but with him back in the game, we'll be getting right back into it in a second. The Saints should definitely take advantage of this moment and essentially call themselves an unofficial timeout, because they need to regroup and think something up real quick, because the bot lane, their morale must be absolutely shattered. Their gold pockets are definitely shattered. Not going to be able to make much out of it. Just scrapping for whatever items they can right now. And the fact that they're going to have to rely on Frez for safety and for damage. It's going to be hard for Frez to do both. He nearly got YNS in that engagement, but a nice use of the ult for YNS to dodge any additional damage and then turn it onto Active Force was absolutely crazy. Just a lot of clutch mastery coming out here from the side of the University of Waterloo. CS-wise, they're absolutely killing it as well. Farming so much better, getting so much more gold. They have a dragon, and their AD carry is 6-0. Okay, 6-1, never mind. Kubra comes down from the top lane to at least get the kill onto that. Active Force is going to try and defend this, but he is going to likely go down here because this Yeti is extremely squishy. Dark X looking for one more. There we go. Line him up for number 6 in regards to deaths here for Active Force. Kubra, can he find one more shot? If he does get that third proc, that would have been brutal, but not going to find it. One looks for some additional ones. It's going to be ults coming out here from Lassie, and sure enough, Quatch Daddy is going to go down. Small victories here as the Gnarly Gnar coming out here from Kubra is going to find his 3rd kill of the game. The beacon of hope here for St. Clair onto the top lane rookie, but he can't even go back to the top lane right now. His turrets just got smashed. Dragon number 2 right around the corner here for St. Clair if they want to try and make something happen, but it's going to probably be unlikely considering Frez is getting jumped on, forced to use the shockwave. Dark X, can he get the pounce he's looking for? The shield is going to get the shutdown. That's what they needed. Frez is going to find himself some big money after that takedown on to Dark X. Got a little bit too overzealous, and that extra little shield that Orianna gets when the ball is on her was absolutely clutch. Keep that one up. Frez currently deathless right now in this game. Doing a solid job in his own right, but everywhere else seems to be falling apart for him. Active Force tries to get the jump onto Quatch, but if anything, it's going to be Quatch now getting the jump onto Active Force. Going to force our dear Yeti to run away. And Dragon number 2 now on the board. YNS is already working on it alongside Shinoa, and I believe it's Quatch there as well. They're going to take this down basically uncontested. Saints don't even know that it's going on, or if they do, they just don't want to deal with it. Going to let them get the second Dragon. While Cooper is content just pounding away on that top turret at least until Xenoblade guy gets there. Okay, Miensfo getting extremely aggressive with the ulti, considering Lazi is in trouble. Going to try and use his invisibility to get out of dodge. Miensfo is going to go down, unfortunately. Was trying to save his AD carry, but as the AD carry runs the other way, they just turn onto him. Going to be his 6th death of the game as well. And Lazi going to try and maybe get the death via the turret so nobody gets the gold for it. And oh, nice little touch there for Shinoa to make sure that he gets credited for the kill. 2 kills for Shinoa. 10 assists. Solid job from the support line of the University of Waterloo. And okay, we have the Gator jumping on in. Xenoblade guy, how fast can a Gator eat a Yeti? We will have to find out. Thankfully, it looks like it's going to be a little bit longer than expected. Some decent AoE damage coming out here from St. Clair. Frez has been able to find this shot exactly where he needs to. Cooper 3 fighting from the side, not quite ready for Mega Gnar form, but he may be able to get the secure on to Xenoblade guy, and is in fact going to be able to do so, handing Xenoblade guy his first death of this game. But even still, in this 4v5 scenario, I still don't necessarily trust Saint's ability to take a fight right now, considering how far behind they are in regards to gold and in regards to items this early into the game.
Yeah, I think the Saints need to regroup and figure out what they need to do to pull this off and get the win. Because I really don't see that they'll be able to do that. But it's been such a solid game for Waterloo to just keep that pressure on the Saints and keep the game going. So it really is showing, that even though that first game was a great one for St. Clair Saints, that it was a let's see what you're made of kind of match.
Absolutely. The last thing that the University of Waterloo should do right now is just completely let off or not keep themselves on the gas pedal, so to speak. They're in the lead. They're in the lead by a lot. This is when you punish hard and just keep on pushing, making it extremely unbearable to even play this game. This is one of those games that if they're doing it right, it does not feel fun for anybody. And one person this game does not really feel fun for would be Active Force if he goes down once again, but he is able to at least kind of trade a little bit here with Dark X. But Dark X is going to be able to heal himself over time. And now is Baron on the table? Or not Baron, but it's still the Rift Herald. Still a possibility here. Shockwave available for Frez if he does find himself the opportunity to go in. Cooper 3 charging on through. It does have, of course, the Mega Form. Could possibly find the Wombo combo. This is what we know him for. Looks for one more shot. He's not going to find it. Never mind, he throws the house at him and is going to be successful in taking him down in the end. So there is a light at the end of the tunnel in the form of Kubra. But he's not meant to be a damage dealer. He could take the combo to Quatch Daddy because Victor is rather squishy. But you try to do that to a Rel, you try to do that to a Renekton. Even the Nidalee, that's not going to be the case. You pull that combo off, you might maybe get half health at best. It's going to be reliant on the rest of your team to follow up with that. And Kubra might be able to take a bunch of hits. I think he is still prioritizing a little bit of... Oh no, he's not actually prioritizing tanking this much. He is a rather damage-focused Gnar in this situation, so he's going to jump in, and if Saints aren't with him, he's just going to pop. So the amount of precise execution that the Saints are going to have to do for team fighting to win from this far behind is definitely going to be tough, which is rough because they built this team composition for team fighting. But they can't even do that considering how far behind they are. Oh, Kubra, hot pursuit.
Yeah, it's
Alright, so Kubra does find the kill up in the top lane there. Was able to one-on-one Xenoblade guy. Here I am talking about how you're not going to be able to burst or Renekton. Well, remember when I said I don't mind being wrong? That's definitely one of those situations. But with Dragon 3 going over into the University of Waterloo's pockets, the small victories that St. Clair are starting to pile on here are still not necessarily going to be enough moving forward. About 7k or so ahead here in regards to gold. Lazi, Nesfo still basically non-factors here. We'll have to see. Cooper is coming down. Maybe they can make something happen. Frez is here as well. Here comes Kubra. Sends Shinoa at least right into the team. But look how long it's taking them to try and even take them down. He's not going to fall. First one down is going to be Miensfo. And short to follow is going to be Active Force. Frez running for his life. But Shinoa too tanky and Dark Axe able to deal so much damage behind them. The Gnar, Kubra, the only one left alive. And even from what seemed like the perfect engage. They focused everything onto the support, and it still did absolutely nothing. Nobody falls on the side of the University of Waterloo. This is probably an inhibitor at the least.
I like to see this pressure staying on. There's that inhibitor going.
Yep, going down. Now the Super Minions will be in hot pursuit of the St. Clair base. And we do see Actiforce thinking about maybe making the chase. Are they going to try and get scrappy with it? I really don't think they can win this still, even if the health bars of the University of Waterloo are sitting at half or less. Unless they can pick them off one at a time. We do see Actiforce still chasing down the Gator, chasing down Xenoblade guy. Gets Actiforce almost extremely low, less than a quarter HP. It's going to opt to get out of dodge after that. They get to keep their blue buff if that's a small victory, but another thing to take into consideration, if Saints do opt to get aggressive, there is a ward in the middle of their base. I can kind of see on the mini-map here. So if Super Minions start plowing into the base, someone could just teleport there and essentially win the game, backdoor style, if they want to try and get it.
I think Waterloo is looking to make that final run up, because they seem to be just gathering themselves together and preparing for the final run.
Yep, and this would definitely be the way to get it started. Putting a Baron buff on you, and then charging in with Super Minions. Oh dear, that is going to be a tough push to stop. Saints, I don't think know what's necessarily going on, but it doesn't really matter. I really don't think they can contest this anyway. So it's going to be going over into the pocket of the University of Waterloo. 10k in the gold lead now. Just absolutely brutal. Frez, they need him to stay alive. He's one of the few people who haven't been feeding their rear off this entire game. And he's going to almost go down, one shot away. And oh, a nice little use of the YNS, the Zaya ult coming out clutch. Kubra 3 and Actiforce are going to try and take down Xenoblade guy. But even Kubra, who's not necessarily even been fed, is going to go down. The scrappy fights, the team composition that the Saints have built, they can't even use it for its purpose. They're not in position to use it for its purpose. Meanwhile, the pick style coming out here from the University of Waterloo is just way too much to handle. Small victories here as Lassie gets his first kill of the game and gets the shutdown gold from Shinoa. But by this point, Nexus towers are getting pounded on. The top inhibitor is literally, like, you can just give it a slight tap with your toe and it'll go down, as we do see YNS finally finish that off. Baroned up minions, Super Minions now in the base. As much as I am an optimist in regards to how esports matches run, and say it's not over until it's over, I would be a fool to think that this one probably isn't going to wrap up in the next 5 minutes.
The lead is just too great at this point, I think. I think they did try to pull it back, to try and end it, but I just think that they were too early on for them to actually have enough momentum that late in the game.
Yeah, because now the only momentum right now in the for the Saints is absolutely negative in the mines, and we're going to see possibly another play here. Shinoa, I mean, you're tanky enough to get away with this, so it's a-okay. But Dragon 4 is actually right here. Saints would have to contest this if they don't want Dragon Soul to go over into the favor of Waterloo. But I just don't think it's going to happen. Actiforce's smites has been notoriously off, to say the least. And he's not going to be able to win that 50-50. And he's going to go down before the fight even really gets a chance to begin. Frez is off trying to defend the top lane. Lassie trying to defend from supers in the middle. And now you have Baron buffed, Dragon Soul buffed, University of Waterloo coming in, crossing all T's and dotting all I's. Kubra with one last stand, trying to make the combo happen here with Frez. Even though they actually pull off the combo properly, it doesn't matter. They just tickle them. And it's going to be the Nexus falling. Saints going to fall in a brutal display coming out here from the University of Waterloo, clutching up game number 3 in decisive fashion. Ooh, that one. I'm feeling sympathy pains from over here with how crazy that one went for the favor of the Warriors. And you called this from the start, where you said it just took one game to warm up, and then now Waterloo's going to just slam on the gas. That's exactly what they did. Like, there's no quarter, just constantly
It,
sending at its Saints.
yeah, I mean, it really shows that that communication when it's good is very key to how we get through the game and bring it to the conclusion that we want, which is the win, of course. But I mean, maybe with Waterloo taking those solid picks in the second match, uh, and then following it up with yet solid picks again in the third, it was, you know, the way that they were going to keep it going, keep that pressure on the Saints for sure.
Absolutely. Like, just the the champion picks were huge, and it allowed them to play that pick style, which then got Waterloo the lead. And not only, like we were saying before earlier in one of the games, but once they had that lead, they not only held it, but they just absolutely just shoved it down your throat. Like, there's absolutely nothing you can do to get back in. Just feeling like you're being choked out in your own base, and it was absolutely brutal but efficient showing coming out here from the University of Waterloo, and was quite the display.
Certainly,
Now, thankfully here for the Saints, I know we're all still kind of recuperating after seeing that one happen, but still not the end of the line here for some Collegiate League of Legends action. Sure, Waterloo may have put on the clinic before, but we can definitely throw it back. Going to quickly throw it on over to the schedule for the matches that we do have coming up next here this week. Friday, 8 p.m., we're going to see some NECC placement matches for the Overwatch team. Their regular season, I believe it begins next week or the week after. Going to see a lot more of the Overwatch squad, get a sneak peek of them during these preseason matches. Saturday at 7 o'clock, it's going to be the R6 Collegiate Championship, Rainbow Six Siege action, Week 5 action there. Sunday, 5 p.m., we'll get the return of CSGO as we have some Face It action at 5, of course. Then, if you're here for League of Legends, the League team gets to recuperate and then take on the amateur scene as they go up against Upsurge Minor League or go up against somebody in the Upsurge Minor League. Not quite sure of the opponents as of this moment, or do I actually know it? Maybe I am a liar. It's actually the University of Southern California we get to go up against on Monday. So even though this is the amateur scene and not necessarily a collegiate league, we get to go up against a collegiate team, so that's going to be an exciting one there. And lastly, for what we have here on the schedule, but there's still so much more to come, Tuesday at 8 p.m., it's going to be week number 2 of NACE Counter-Strike action here on the Saints Gaming CA channel. So make sure you follow the Twitch channel. Make sure you follow us on Twitter as well, to make sure you get the rest of the match announcements as they happen. Because starting on the 7th, this begins what will be the absolute nuttiness of 7 matches a week, 1 match every single day, at the very least. It's going to get exciting.
Yep.
Now I'm going to close things up real quick as the match, of course, was definitely one that shook us up, but nonetheless, still proud of our Saint squad to keep on fighting until the end, because those are one of those games that you just kind of want to flip a table afterwards for, if you know what I'm saying. But prior, still a big thank you to everybody for tuning in, whether you're here to support your family, friends, or classmates, or just your team. Thank you for tuning in to the broadcast and supporting their esports endeavors. Big thank you to the sponsors that make this all happen, of course. St. Clair College, the Zekelman School of Business and IT, PC Outlet, Tim Hortons, St. Clair SRC, and the St. Clair College Alumni Association. I also want to give a big thank you to Eileen for your very first commentary gig. Thank you for hopping on here. Look forward to having you back on again sometime soon if you want to take it up.
Thanks, Dan. I appreciate all your support and efforts to get through my first cast.
Absolutely, there'll be plenty more to come, I'm sure. But with that, we shall close out for tonight. Again, thank you for everybody for tuning in, and we will see you again on Friday for some NECC Overwatch action. Have a good night, everyone.